During my period with Hants-Kings CBDC, I was the SEB program counselor for for clients located primarily in West Hants, but also in East Hants, and sometimes when Kings County was overloaded, I would work with them as well. What that entailed was meeting with people who were interested in self-employment, who thought they might want to go into the business world, but didn't have the confidence or the academic knowledge and were hesitant to do so. So what would happen is that we would meet, we'd have several sessions, we'd look at what they wanted to do, we'd assess its practicality. I would have them do up a mini business plan, not a full three volume binder with surveys, etc., but just to clarify the concept they had. If then felt a little more confident about it, they would apply for the program, and if they got approved, then they would have a period of support while they were getting their business up and started. That support basically came in three forms. One was income support. Basically, they would receive a check every couple of weeks, just as if they were in receipt of EI. Plus, they were able to keep any income from their business. So the theory behind that was that if you get that financial support at the start, then when the program ends, they're in a better financial position to maintain the business long term. The second support they received was business administration courses, training, aimed at the introductory business level to try to translate all the rules and regulations out there. For example, when you operate a business, it's a bureaucratic world. There are significant number of laws, regulations, memorandums, etc. Actually, there was a study done a few years ago, and they found that in the province of Nova Scotia alone, there were over 400,000 rules, regulations, memorandums, edicts applicable to the business world. So you can have a full appreciation of somebody who's never been in business, how intimidating that could be. The third triage, or the third part of the triage of support to the individuals, was the provision of a business counselor. And that counselor would work with the individual while they were in the program. They would monitor their activity, attempt to help them with any problems that they foresaw. But more importantly, the counselor was there to answer any questions they might have. So just as a coach in a sport of one type or another, you had different people with different skills, different confidence levels. And the key was to find out what type of support the individual needed, to what degree, and to try to help them bridge that gap, so that by the time the program ended, they had confidence in their knowledge of the basic regulations and also confidence in their own ability to successfully cover anything else which might come up in the future. Even so, once the program was over, the counselor was still available to them. And in my experience through the years, I would say I spent about 30% of my time working with people who had gone through the program, who would come back with questions or clarifications. So that was my function within the organization. There is no magic formula for someone being a successful entrepreneur. I know that business studies look at certain characteristics as being conducive to somebody being successful in the business community in the long term. But based on my experience, there is no one common set of factors which will either increase the odds of success or decrease the odds of success. You have to have, naturally, the individual has to have technical experience and technical training in whatever type of business they're planning to open. From a personality perspective, you look at their dedication, You look at their employment history, how long have they stayed at different jobs, why did they leave particular jobs. You look at their personal situation as well, and this is where you become very involved with them on the personal side. Why is it that they want to start a business? Why now? What does their family think of it? Because once you start a small business, it's not just you that it affects everybody in your family. So you have to, if you're going to be successful in the long term, you have to have family support, whether that's your spouse, your children, or just your circle of friends. So to say, is there a magic magic set of characteristics which will help people? Certain things, yes, but there is no one formula where you look at it and say that person will be a success in the long term because they have this type of approach to life. And one of the things that I've seen through my lengthy career with the SEB program is that you have all different types of personalities who come in, they start a business, and they're able to make it function, work in the long term. I think the thing that makes me the most proud when I look at the program and what it's accomplished is the fact that this program has been extremely successful under the auspices of the Hants-Kings CBDC. I was when I received the email about this about doing this interview, I went back and I started looking at some of the numbers, and one of the positive aspects of this organization is that it has kept track of all the clients from day one, starting in 1992. And so between the three counties through this period, and this is an approximation, there would have been somewhere between 4,000 and 4,500 SEB clients during this time period. And that's a large number of new businesses. The other aspect to that is that on occasion, the organization or other organizations have gone back and reviewed the program, and they've checked on, specifically looking at the long-term survival of the businesses. And one of the things that they've found, one of the results that came out of that was that people who had gone through the SEB program, on average, and this is an average number, after 5 years, about 60% of those businesses were still operating. That is compared to the average business community, where after 5 years, the average success rate is about 20%. So it effectively tripled. So with Hants-Kings CBDC, you had a large number of clients going through, and actually most years, this organization has had more SEB clients than any other organization in Atlantic Canada. It's always been neck and neck with Halifax, which has a much larger population, a much bigger organization. But it's been, if not the largest, then the second largest. Plus, the success rate is there. So the program has done a great deal for the three counties, and it's done a great deal for the individuals. But that is attributed to the fact that there is an extremely strong team in place. 99% of the people who are involved with the program have a basic understanding of it, recognize the positive results, and work very strongly with it. And that starts with the employment counselors in the organizations I talked about before, through to the business counselors, admin and support staff, the executive directors, and last but by no means least, the board of directors. And the interesting thing with the many years I've been involved is you can see on occasion somebody will get into the system at some point and not have a full appreciation for the potential of the program and not support it. And in that geographical area that he or she is responsible for, until they either leave or take another job, the numbers in that area drop significantly. So to my mind, the fact that the most positive thing about working with the organization has been the success of the program, and the fact that it wasn't just a one-person operation or two-person operation. The success is due to everybody in that team.